Hello and welcome back to Sonny Talk Spurs, and today we're going to be finding out the truth about Timo Werner. But before we get into this one, if you are new to the channel, why don't you leave a like on the video, subscribe to Sonny Talk Spurs and hit that notification bell because it will let you know when I've gone live. And also in the link in the description, you can become a member of Sonny Talk Spurs and get an exclusive podcast weekly starting this Wednesday, and it's called Nice One Sonny. You can see what I did there. And this week we'll be talking about the FA Cup draw against Manchester City, and also get your questions down below because I'll do a little Q&A as well. And without further ado though, let's get into this Timo Werner video. So the German has signed for Tottenham Hotspur on a 6-month loan deal with an option to buy for around 17 million euros. And you know, it's been a few days since the news broke on Saturday that he'd be signing for Tottenham Hotspur, and let's just put it this way, after my reaction video, many fans have split opinions on this one. I should know there was 200 comments on my video that I went through each and every one, and a lot of people were saying a lot of different things. And if you haven't seen that reaction, by the way, go back and watch that after you've watched this video. But off the back of that, and spurred on, to pardon a pun, I decided to do this video, and we've called it The Truth About Timo Werner because I want to see what different football fans and creators on the platform really think about Timo Werner. And I've got a selection of opinions. I've gone down the obvious route of Tottenham Hotspur. What do certain fans and creators think of the signing? I've gone down the European and Leipzig route to see what that sort of opinion is as well. And I've done Manchester United because Timo Werner was linked to that club as well, but he decided to sign for us instead of them. And then obviously the very clear and obvious one, Chelsea fans. What do they make of the signing, and what did they make of their former player? And without further ado, let's get into the main opinion then. What do certain Tottenham Hotspur fans think of the move? And I'd like to say a huge thank you for everyone who has contributed. Their links will be in the description down below. But to start, we've got the Tottenham Hotspur angle, and that's Mitch, Fretton, and also we've got Sim from We Are Tottenham TV.
Timo Werner to Tottenham isn't something you could say that any Spurs fan would have expected to happen over the last couple of years with his Chelsea ties and how much I'm sure so many fans probably took the mickey out of him for his performance last time he was in the Premier League. But I'm actually genuinely quite excited about this move. It's really risk-free for the club, so I've got sort of no expectation, and I would say if he manages to even bag 5 goals for the club, then that's probably been a success. I think he really suits Ange's system, and the key thing for me is that Ange wants to bring him in, and he desperately wants him as part of his system. He's really good at running into the spaces behind. He's really good with his pressing, and if he can just switch on and find that level of finishing that sort of put him to the top of the table at Leipzig in Germany, then I think we're getting a hell of a player on a 6-month loan deal. The obligation to buy as well being 15 million means it's risk-free, and if he's good, we're getting a bargain. So I would say let's wait and see about this deal. I'm hopeful that it's going to work out, and we need the depth in attack at the end of the day. Ange wants Timo Werner. We're getting Timo Werner, so let's just wait and see what happens.
Hey Sonny, Sim from We Are Tottenham TV here. Timo Werner, I mean, who would have thought he's going to be pulling on the lily white strip of Tottenham Hotspur after all that's happened over the last few years? I was so desperate to have him when he signed for Chelsea, and I was so jealous of Chelsea when they did sign him all those years ago. But it didn't really turn out that way, did it? He completely flopped, and now we're looking at a situation where we're picking him up on a downturn. He's been off form for a few years. But I, for one, I'm excited about the deal. I think he's a really, really talented player. I think he's got all the attributes to fit in a Postecoglou system. I really think this could be a smart move for us. So it's a low-risk deal. If it pans out well, we can sign him permanently 15 million. I think he's got the pace to really lead that Postecoglou press and really make our pressing even more effective. Just imagine a front three of Son, Johnson and Werner pressing the opposition defences. I think that's really going to be effective. The only reservation I do have on this deal, apart from the obvious, which he's out of form for a while, is he's more naturally, in my opinion, his best football has come when he's played centrally and not on the left. I think we need someone who's more naturally on the left right now, because if you look at our left-hand side of our attack, we have Son there, who's obviously been a bit hit and miss on the left-hand side. But other than that, Perisic, Solomon are injured, and then you're kind of clutching at straws. So For me, Werner's best position is centrally. He's a striker. That's what I see his best position. So reservations about whether Postecoglou can get the best out of him on the left-hand side. But other than that, I think it's a really, really clever deal, and I'm really excited to see him in a Tottenham shirt.
So Mitch and Sim have similar opinions to myself. They're a bit on the fence because they know the player they've seen from watching Chelsea in the Premier League and a bit of Leipzig as well. But there is some optimism there that, you know, Ange Postecoglou can get the best out of this player and he could suit our system. We might be getting the striker / winger, whatever you want to call him, that Chelsea hoped they were getting, but we hope we are going to get. So it is quite interesting. Sim mentions as well, maybe did we need to get another option, but is this the safer option? I think that's what a lot of Tottenham fans are saying. This was a safer option. 17 million euros is nothing in the modern market for a 27-year-old who has got some pedigree, you could say, but then he has still got that potential to maybe grow under a manager who will play him in a system that works. And at Chelsea, it just didn't work because we've seen the amount of players who have been turned over at that club and the players there now. You look at your Mudriks and players like that, just not working out for them. So a lot of the Tottenham fan base are all in agreement in the sense of there is a player there, but we have to, proof in the pudding. And that's sort of what I said on my first reaction video. So now we move on to the European / RB Leipzig angle. And who better than European football expert Kevin Hatchard of obviously talkSPORT, my beloved talkSPORT, and Sky Sports fame. Take it away, Kev.
Timo Werner is very much something of a fixer-upper at the moment in the sense that he's probably low on confidence. He hasn't been starting many games for RB Leipzig, and the reasons for that are simple. Lois Openda came in from Lens in the summer and has been scoring lots of goals. Young Slovenian Benjamin Šeško is a player that Leipzig know they have to give game time to if they want to keep him and they want him to develop, while veteran Yusuf Poulsen has also been getting games. So Werner all too often has been the odd man out. But we do know that he has proven quality. He's won a Champions League with Chelsea. He has pace to burn, the ability to run in behind. And Julian Nagelsmann, who's now the Germany coach, did turn Werner into a much more rounded player when they worked together at RB Leipzig. He's always been a streaky player, all the way back to his days as a teenager at Stuttgart. It's just about whether Ange Postecoglou can rebuild that self-esteem and confidence and unlock a quality player.
Some very interesting points there. Again, he mentions the Ange angle. Ange could, hopefully, I'm praying, get the best out of Timo Werner. He does say he is out of favour at Leipzig. They've signed a various amount of strikers last year, this year. Got a lot of attacking talent. He has fallen down the pecking order and it's not been so good in his second spell as it was in his first spell. And we know how good he was in his first spell because he scored against us in the Champions League when Jose Mourinho was manager. But, he mentions the national team. He's got quite a good record for the national team. They do rely on him somewhat, him and Havertz especially, and people, write them off all the time. But he's going to be at the national team with Julian Nagelsmann as well. Nagelsmann and Ange are quite, forward-thinking managers. So you do hope that Timo Werner will become the striker we all wanted to see once upon a time in the Premier League, but didn't. But as I say, fingers crossed, still got some optimism there, but we move on to our next opinion. So I decided to pick a Manchester United angle as well. They were linked to the club. I speak to Mark Goldbridge a lot at talkSPORT, and he was saying how he really wanted the player on loan, and they missed out, unfortunately, because we swooped in. But who better than getting a Manchester United angle than my good pal, one of my really good friends, who is Joe Thomlinson, who's already actually berated me with some of my former opinions of Timo Werner, compared him to the German Patrick Bamford. But Joe, what do you make of this move?
All right, my thoughts on Timo Werner joining Tottenham Hotspur. I know there's loads of narratives going around that Manchester United were desperately after this guy. I think Man United probably had a light interest. I'm pretty sure Timo Werner was being offered around to plenty of clubs because, let's face it, he's had no game time at Leipzig this season. Manchester United need forward reinforcements. But for me, as a Manchester United fan, I think we need to put a halt on all signings. No signings until the new recruitment structure is sorted out. This season's a write-off anyway. It's a write-off anyway. There's no point doing these deals if you're Man United. For Tottenham, I think it makes perfect sense. 6-month loan, get an extra body through the door, a body that presses like mad, extremely rapid on the counter-attack and in transition, works perfectly for Tottenham Hotspur. For Manchester United, I think, given the state of the current team, this would have ended really badly. It would have ended really badly. Let's just put a halt on signings. Pause until we can readdress the recruitment team.
So yeah, Joe's making similar points to a lot of the other guys, but you know, with the Manchester United angle, you could tell he's a bit had enough of certain things and just wants the Jim Ratcliffe era to start. And you know, maybe a loan deal for Timo Werner doesn't really work out for them. They've probably got to wait till the summer, get all their transfers sorted. So Timo Werner, would he have really worked with United? I couldn't see him really linking up with the likes of Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford. I don't think it works in their system as well. I mean, United do play counter-attack, so that pace would help. But you can see why maybe Tottenham have gone for him instead, because Tottenham play a way that could suit Werner on the left, through the middle. So that makes a lot more sense. And finally, we have the big hitters, the Chelsea fans. But before I get into Rory, Jennings of all people, because we know what sort of reaction he's going to have, we're going to start with someone who's a bit more of a calmer Chelsea fan, and that is my good friend Zac Djellab.
Okay, yes, Timo Werner gone to Tottenham Hotspur. Feels a little bit weird, firstly, because obviously he's won the Champions League at Chelsea, and whilst things might not have been great in terms of on the pitch all the time, there were a lot of chances missed. He was a player who I think we expected to become a lot better and develop really well at Chelsea, and quite frankly didn't in the end. But there was no love lost when he left. He was somebody that his pure pace alone was always super, super exciting. And so it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in at Tottenham, that's for sure. I mean, currently Spurs, they are looking really, really good with Ange Postecoglou. And to be honest, if Ange is kind of sitting there and saying that he wants him and is willing to go through everything and do a loan move, and even the option to buy isn't too bad, I feel like it's the right thing to kind of trust him. I don't know what kind of player you're going to get at Spurs with Timo Werner, because, as I said, didn't work 100% in Chelsea. Didn't necessarily not work either at times. He was definitely a useful asset to have. But yeah, by the end, I think for both parties, we were happy for it to end. Then he went back home to RB Leipzig, and it's not really worked there. So I don't know what player Spurs are going to be getting at all. I'm just hoping that it's essentially not a person that we didn't see at Chelsea, a next level of it, where he's got better and better, because that would be quite a shame, to be quite honest. What I will say, for a 6-month loan, to help with Son going, to help with any injuries that you have, for someone that can kind of play across the front line, he can play on the wings, he can play through the middle. I really don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's too bad. And put it this way, you've dealt with Richarlison for the last however long now. If you can deal with Richarlison, you can deal with Timo Werner. And so, yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe Ange is the guy to unlock him again.
Again, Zach, when we talked about it in our friend group chat to start, he sort of said he's quite excited about this move. He thinks it could be a good move for Tottenham Hotspur. You can tell that there's a bit of frustration there that Chelsea didn't get the player that maybe one Tottenham could have, or Leipzig had once upon a time. But that is unfortunate. But you can tell there is that sort of essence of, but we know what we've seen at Chelsea. And I've seen stuff that he did at Chelsea. You know, even on the weekend, Sky Sports put together a compilation of his best goals, and they weren't amazing. I mean, they really were subpar. Even one of the commentary said he's waited a long time for this goal, and it's like, oh, this is quite worrying. But also, the way I see it as well, he's a busy person. He's a busy striker. He likes to get himself in certain spaces, so that could work out really well. But here we are, the one you've all been waiting for. It is Rory Jennings. And I messaged Rory and I said, can I get your opinion, like everyone else, can I get your opinion on Timo Werner? And he just replied simply with, mate, I've just uploaded a video. Take this clip here. And he gave me the time codes, and here it is right now.
How can it be worth it? And don't tell me that they've got an option to buy and he could end up... They're never going to sign him. They're never going to sign him because they're going to watch him play. They're going to watch him play for 6 months. If we had the privilege of watching him play for 6 months, we would have never signed him either. So they are going to witness it. They are going to see him trying to fill the boots of Heung-Min Son. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. He is so woeful. Absolutely useless. And if I remove the emotion from it, if I take away the emotion and the if I try and approach it with rationale, which we don't do as football fans, the beauty of football is that it's a very irrational thing. We follow our hearts, don't we? It's all about the natural feeling around your football club, the natural tribalism around your football club. But if I approach this with rationale and I take away my feelings about what this represents and what it means, this is actually brilliant. This is actually brilliant because he is a desperate striker, a desperate footballer, a desperate player, and somebody who actually isn't good enough to get in this Tottenham team. Like, he really isn't. In fact, I would go so far as to say that Timo Werner would be in my worst ever Chelsea 11. There is absolutely no danger that Timo Werner has any success. There is absolutely no danger that Timo Werner will resonate with their fans. He isn't going to hit the ground running. He isn't going to be able to score the goals that's necessary. In fact, I will say this now. There is no danger of him scoring more than 5 goals this Premier League season. It's impossible. It is actually impossible.
Now, before we get into this in depth, a little bit of a disclaimer. Timo Werner probably won't score 5 goals. And why is that? He might not have a lot of game time. He might not start straight away. If he's coming on as a sub, 5 goals is a lot to sort of expect of him. But if he does start, maybe that is attainable. We're only in the FA Cup, but that's against Manchester City, so we don't know what could happen in that regard. But I understand Rory's opinions. He is a big fan of tribalism. He hates the Tottenham Chelsea rivalry. He mentions Gus Poyet in this video as well. He mentions AVB. He mentions everyone. And I was the same about Pochettino when he went to Chelsea. I had exactly the same sort of opinions of like, what's he done? He stabbed us in the back. But again, it's a free world and a free market. And he's gone back to Leipzig and he hasn't enjoyed it. And just given him a phone call. And he really wants to work under this project. So fair play to him. But, we all know what Rory's like. He really loves the rivalry. And I can understand his frustration. It makes a lot of sense. But, he obviously thinks he's going to flop. But as I keep saying, it's a 6-month loan deal. If it doesn't work out, we don't buy him. That's that. And if it does work out, it's only 17 million euros. So I don't really see the negatives of this one. So now, after collating all this information into my noggin, what do I think? And my opinion hasn't changed really. I still think Timo Werner has a lot to prove. And we hopefully will get the best out of him. As I just said before, 17 million euros is not a lot of money. It's a 6-month loan deal. As long as he offers something and a stopgap, that's what we need at the moment. I watched the Burnley game in the FA Cup. Johnson, Ritchie, Kulusevski were struggling to get goals and assists in that game. And we need a more profitable striker. And Timo Werner could be that guy. He's going to be busy. He's going to be fast. He's going to get a lot of shots off. So hopefully in this Ange system, it could get better. And without Son, who's at the Asian Cup, we have a lack in that area. Brian Hill's probably not the man either. But then again, we've got Maddison coming back from injury soon. And Kulusevski can play deeper and thread balls into Timo Werner. So there is some optimism in certain elements, but I still stand by what I say. Proof will be in the pudding, but come on Timo, score some goals for us. So there we have it. That's my opinions and all those guys' opinions as well on the truth about Timo Werner video. But let me know in the comments down below, what do you make of the signing? What do you make of the opinions of the guys in this video? Obviously a lot to take in there and a lot of different opinions, but that's what football's all about having a really good, healthy debate, even during the transfer window. But if you have enjoyed the video, why don't you leave a like on it, subscribe to Sonny Talk Spurs and hit that notification bell because it will let you know when I've gone live. And as I said at the top of the video, in the link in the description as well, you can become a member of Sonny Talk Spurs and you will get exclusive access to the new Nice One Sonny podcast that will be going out weekly starting from this Wednesday. Get your questions down below in the comments as well and I'll answer them in the podcast as well. But as I say, hope you've enjoyed it, hope you've loved all the different opinions, and I'll see you again pretty soon, and a ciao.